All right, I'm going to cover here Fifth Frontier War. This is a GW game, um, 19, I think 80, maybe 81, somewhere in that, for use with Traveler. Now, I don't know anything about Traveler except, well, I mean, I know something. It's a science fiction role-playing game, also done by GDW. Kind of a, I think, kind of a cult, role-playing game. And this game's, a full-on war game that, interesting enough, is designed to be played alongside your role-playing game, which is kind of neat. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that before. However, obviously I'm not going to be doing that. It's a standalone war game in itself as well, and it is. There's some glare there. Sorry about that. This is an operational level game, and it's about a sneak attack by these blue guys here. This is the Zodani. I don't know anything about the Zodani. I don't know if they're even human. Maybe they're an alien race. I don't know. But they're sneak attacking the Imperium, which is this red bordered area and the red counters. There's other colored counters as well. So they're launching a sneak attack. They're being supported by some allies. These are the Vargar, and these are the Sword World down here. And it's a victory point game. They're trying to take territory, and they're trying to basically conquer, this area. This area is called the Spinward Marches in Traveler, for whatever that's worth. Okay, so let me go over. I'm going to go over some of the rules in this. I have it in my other videos, but I haven't seen any videos on this game anywhere. There could be some out there that I'm not seeing. So I'll kind of go in a little more detail about how the game plays before I start. Normally not something I do. I like to just kind of play, show how it plays, what I think about it, and how I play a game. Okay. So first of all, let's look at the map. The map is divided, or is hexes, obviously, and these are worlds. And the worlds have boxes for each world, which is kind of neat. In fact, I find the map really neat. It's divided kind of into the four panels of how the map folds. And so if you want to look up at a world on this panel, it's going to be down here, and it's done by alphabet. It's alphabetized. So it makes it actually pretty easy to find worlds, despite, how the map looks like this kind of disorganized mess. It's organized, I think, pretty well. Now, worlds, and I'll kind of zoom in on one. So like this world, they have a whole bunch of information on them, which is why this is useful. Perhaps the most important one is this number here in the upper right. This is the tech level for the world. And they go from, I don't know if it's 0 or 1 to 15. 15 is like the high tech, and I think 0 or 1 is basically Stone Age. 8 is like our current technology today, is how they put it. Okay, so that number is important because that's going to be the victory points for that world, basically. Underneath it, we have a number sometimes, or sometimes no number, and that's the number of troops that are defending, that are inherent to that world, and they're defending it. Over here, this is the starport. An A starport's the best, a B starport, and so on. Some have no starports. And below that is the number of system defense boats. Those are inherent space forces that can defend that planet. Okay. Another important one, this indicates the presence of a naval base. This circle, if they have one, this indicates there's water, or a significant amount of water on the planet. That's important for refueling fleets. Kind of get into how that works. And that is more or less it. But there's a lot of information. There's more stuff that can be on there as well. And actually, some of it's on the map too. Looking at the counters, or the units, these are the Zodani. The blue are Zodani. The white colored blue counters, those are colonial Zodani forces. These orange ones are the Vargar. Green ones are the sword wielders. So these guys are all on one side. You have a couple different types of units. You have your space units, which you have the ship icons, and you have different types of ships. And then you have your ground forces. These are admirals. They will lead your fleets, and they have a couple of numbers on them. Let's take a look at some ships. So this ship, you have an attack, raiding, and space combat. The middle numbers are bombardment. That's for hitting surface forces. And the last one's a defense value. Up top, you have the type of ship. A B is a battleship. C is a cruiser. A is they're assault transports. And T is a tanker. They can help in refueling. Refueling is an important part of the game I'll get into. The next one is, in this case, a B3. The 3 is the number of hexes it can jump. So you make one jump at a time. It's a very important number. You have ships from 1 basically to 6 for jump capability. And then this circle up here, ships are rated as either streamlined, like this cruiser has that circle with nothing in it, partially streamlined, like this guy, half of it's colored in, or unstreamlined, which most of these battleships are unstreamlined. It's important for refueling. After every jump, basically with your ships, you have to refuel before you can jump again. This can take no time. It can take one, or it can take a turn. And it's important as far as being able to move quickly. Okay, let's look at some of these ground units here. You have a symbol, this is infantry. This would be armor. The number here, that is the number of troops. The 5 in the C means it's a 500. There's 500 troops. And units range in size from 1. I don't think the Zodani have they do have a 1 strength unit here. Up to 500. Okay, and there's some 500 unit strength units here. The number next to it is the tech rating. And that's Tech 14, for example. Tech rating is really important for doing the ground combat, because you can have, I'm going to show quickly how kind of combat works here. So you can have, say, a 100 to 1 rating, right? You're attacking, with a 100 strength unit against, say, one of these, this is an Imperial unit, one of these 1 strength Imperial units. You can be on the 100 to 1 table, but if you have a really poor tech rating, well, let's do this. This might show it a little better. So he's got a 10 to 1 advantage. So he's on the 10 to 1 table, and that looks really good, but he's only got a 10 tech rating. That's got a 15. You're going to do 5 shifts on that. So all of a sudden, you're not so good. And that goes for attack or defense. So tech rating is really important, and that's how that works. Okay. What else do we got here? Okay, admirals. So your fleets are going to be staged on this fleet display, and you're going to have a number of fleets. You're going to put your ships and the units they're transporting on them. You can only move ships if they're in a fleet. So if you just have single ships hanging out by themselves, they can't move. Normally, you have to pre-plot movement in this game. So the base number to pre-plot for the Zodani is 4 turns in advance. But if you assign an admiral to that fleet, and we'll see some admirals here, this first number actually shows how many turns you have to plot in advance. They can go from 0 to 3 here for the Zodani. So 0 means you don't have to plot at all. And those are your best. Those are your elite fleets. You don't have to worry. You can react quickly to what you need to do. The number next to it, that's their tactics rating. So when you get in a space combat, some of them have plus, some of them have minus. So those will affect the combat. There's also a precedence number here, kind of like the U.S. Civil War, where you have generals who are, higher on the precedence chart. However, it's not really such a big factor here, because you don't have to put those admirals at start on a big fleet. But if they combine with if they enter the same space as another admiral, then they have to have a bigger fleet. We'll see if that comes up very much, but it's not as restrictive as like in the U.S. Civil War, where you have to start them when if you bring them into play, they have to start on a bigger army, and you have to fire them and all that kind of thing. And in general, even your worst admirals are still better than no admiral, which is nice, because this guy, even though he's a 3-0, a no admiral would be a 4-0. So he's still a little better than having nothing at all. Okay, let's go and take a look at some Imperial units. I've started the setup for the Imperials. So I have some of their ships on the fleets. Some of these units, they have to start, these Imperial colonial units have to start at whatever world they're named at. So I've kind of begun that. I've got these are some Imperial Marines. They have to start at naval bases. These guys here, these are guerrilla units from the Zodani, and I put them on certain planets. And anyway, here's what's left to set up that I have for the Imperials. Wow, that's bright. Okay, let's see if I can zoom in. Now, these orange guys, they're actually the same color as the Zodani Vargar. They're mercenaries. I'm guessing maybe they're Vargar mercenaries fighting for the Imperium. Again, I don't know the Traveler lore, so can't really say. These guys here, these are Huskarls, and they're kind of elite local troops that fight for the Imperium, and these are Imperial regulars. So a huge disparity in troops at start. So the Zodani are going to have a big advantage here coming in. Talk quickly about victory conditions. There is a victory table here, and the Zodani win an automatic if they get 301 more points than the Imperials. That means they take planets in neutral or Imperial territories, and if that total is 301 or more, they automatically win. Over here, the Imperials minus 301. I don't know if that's possible. I'm not even sure why that's on there, but also a player can declare an armistice. And the game ends, you look at the victory points, and whoever's winning wins. Seems kind of interesting there. The Zodani cannot declare an armistice until turn 26. If they do, the victory level is shifted 2 levels in favor of the Imperial player. If they wait till turn 52, it's shifted 1 level in favor of the Imperial player. It's kind of weird. We'll see how it works. To me, it looks like, if the Zodani, there's a stalemate level here, which is pretty high. And I would think if they're doing poorly, they could just declare kind of a stalemate if they're like in this level here, if they don't see they can do any well on like turn 52 and just say, we win. I don't know. I may say the stalemate's an Imperial victory. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how unbalanced this is either way. So who knows? So that's basically what you're looking to do. The Zodani are looking to, get victory points relatively quickly before the Imperials can build up their reinforcements and launch counterattacks. All right, some other units that are a little special here. These are scout units. They have the S. They don't have to be a member of a fleet to move. They can move individually, and they have a 0 time. That means you don't have to plot their movement. They can just jump around wherever they want. And they actually, I think, do that at the beginning of the turn. So they can kind of move around and possibly soften up some Zodani planets. The Zodani have a few scouts themselves. I don't think they have many, maybe 3 or 4. It looks like they have 6. Okay. So, quick intro. I know not a great one, but I'm going to go ahead and finish the setup here for the Imperials. Then I'll finish the setup for the Zodani, and then get into gameplay.